Your source for everything paranormal. Para X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
And good evening, everyone. This is Jerry with The Calling. And guess what? Kimberly's not with me tonight. Gosh, what a shame, huh? Kimberly is not feeling well. So if everybody can send her a little healing and stuff, they do believe that she possibly has COVID. So she's just going to take it easy for a while and everything. So give her happy thoughts. But tonight there was a person on LinkedIn, and I seen her, the thing that tells you about them and everything. And she's gone on some things that I've gone on with the awakening happening and everything. And I'm so lucky to have her on the show tonight. Hey, Katelyn, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Now, where are you from? Where exactly are you?
Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Minot, Virginia?
Who?
Where did you say?
Roanoke.
Roanoke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Franklin County is where I was raised, but Roanoke is. I left and came back, and it's home.
Gotcha. So now, what's it like out there right now? Is it pretty yucky?
It is. It's starting to get mushy. Still snow piled up everywhere, but it's definitely disgusting.
Yeah. Here it's cold. It's like really cold. Like last night, I think the temperatures were like 40-some below, 40 to 45 below with the wind chill. That's just not even fun. Not even fun.
No.
Yeah, not good at all. So, now let's talk a little bit about when you were little and stuff. I mean, because you're actually you've been kind of like drawn to the supernatural and things like that, exploring cemeteries and watching and reading everything that's supernatural related. What's your favorite shows that are out there?
When it comes to shows, probably, ironically, Supernatural. That one, when I was growing up, it was definitely Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I actually used to go around outside, pretend to slay vampires. So it went from there. Charmed, of course, the classic. Like when I was super young, watching Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie used to be a thing for me all the time. So.
Well, now those were the reruns you've seen because you're young.
Yeah, yep,
definitely. The first time it came out, I mean, it was really good then, Then it was magical.
It's still good. I watched some the other day. Strangely enough.
I tend to watch that too. What is that channel that they have, the Retro Channel or something like that?
Oh, yep.
It's pretty interesting.
It is.
It is. So you got into that kind of stuff, and, how did your parents feel about, they ever talk about ghosts or anything like that, or any kind of hint of the supernatural world?
Not really. My grandpa, he was my step-grandpa, he actually spoke of it more. He always said, like, he had seen the former owners of the house he was living at. He always seen them. He woke up one day to a man and a woman stand over him, always heard noises. I, of course, thought, as a kid, I thought he was trying to mess with me and scare me. So I didn't take it to heart until I moved into that house after he passed. And sure enough, I heard like footsteps upstairs or like in the attic. And of course, I try to tell myself it's squirrels, they're bats. Like, it's not a ghost. Except, ironically, when the heat or the AC would kick on, the steps got louder. It got a little bit more fussier. And again, trying to tell myself, you're overreacting. Until my ex-fiance, he was at home one night and he said he had woken up and he was watching American Horror Story. Another one of my favorites, by the way. He was watching that and he guessed he had fallen asleep. And all of a sudden, he saw a white figure come towards him from my son's room. And my son, we weren't at home. It was just him by himself. He was laying on the couch. And he said that as soon as he woke up, he saw that figure like coming towards the living room where he was. Like, it was, because my son's room was like diagonal from the living room. So he said that he got up and he said he slammed the door. We had a weird house. There was a door separating the living room and the hallway. I'm unsure why, but whatever. It helped out because it made him think that he could stop a ghost or a spirit, like, from coming through the walls, I guess. Whatever. But that was probably one of our first experiences together, aside from a loud bang on our front door when we first moved into that house. And then it just kind of progressed after that. And once he had seen that white figure, we were splitting up. So I was moving out of that house anyway. It didn't matter. So that could stay. I was leaving. It could stay. Could have it.
Wow. Well, when certain things would happen like that and everything in the house, did anybody notice any smells or any type of like hissing voices, anything?
No, which of course, so anytime I was actually home was typically like at nighttime. I'd gone out and
what was that?
my light just randomly went out. I don't know why, because they're plugged into the wall. I don't know. That scared me.
I know you were really startled when that happened.
I went to go turn the other one off and turned it off on accident. So then it was complete darkness. But so no, we never really smelled anything. I didn't start smelling or noticing smells until probably like this year. Like cigarette smells typically, which reminds me of my like great grandma or my grandma even, because heavy smokers always smoked in the house, you know, like back in the day, they just didn't care, I guess. But that, and oddly enough, this is going to sound weird. It did it again. So I'm just going to let that happen. But there, I can smell this. I can't wait to tell you this. I can smell water. There's something weird about our water here. I don't know if it's just me. Oh, I accidentally did that one. But it's like when I started smelling, when everything started coming clear to me, and like I had this, you know, awakening, I guess, I started being able to smell things I never smelled before. And I was like, wow, is this like after I had COVID? Like, which I had COVID way at the beginning of the year. So I was like, why just now? But the smelling of cigarettes I've, you know, had, and then now I can smell water, and it's not a good smell. I don't know if it's something funky. It's not a normal smell, and I don't know if I need to, no one else can smell it. And it's so weird. Like it makes me like nauseous.
Is there something wrong with your guys' water? Like, did the neighbors say anything?
No, no one has said anything, but I smell it every house I go to.
Really?
Like, yeah, my old house, that was that crazy video that we're not sure, like, if someone was behind
right.
me, you know, scare. Or, so that house is where I first smelled it. Thought I had smelled it, but I thought, maybe it's that house because it's old. Then I went to one of my friend's house. Same thing. Could smell it. And then, so where I'd moved to, I can smell it here too. And I'm like, what is going on? like, why can't anyone else smell it? But, and it's, and I would.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, I went to my parents' house. They live out in the country. Nothing. I can't smell a thing there. Of course, they have well water.
Right.
And yeah, so it's a little bit different, I guess. But everywhere, like the city part of Roanoke and the county part of Roanoke, I could smell it. And it just turns me off to, trying to be healthy and drinking water. Like, I'm just like, ugh, is that even safe? Like, because am I smelling things that are maybe like toxic and y'all can't? Maybe that's why y'all aren't feeling so well. Like, I don't know.
What's weird is like, I live next to Columbia Heights where I used to live. And Columbia Heights, their water is really good. You could drink it right out of the tap. I move over here to New Brighton, and right away it's got a taste and it has a scent to it I can't stand. So I'm telling you, girl, get a Brita. You know what a Brita is?
Oh, wait. Yeah. The little thing that kind of filters the water. Yep. I do need to invest in one because buying bottles of water, I'm collecting them on the bedside, so
right.
And so it's not working out too well.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, sometimes like Steve right now in the chat room is saying maybe it's the fluorine that's in it compared to well water. That could be,
It might be. I need to get somebody out here just to test it, or maybe see about just something, because it, like I said, it's turning me off to everything. Like, I don't want to use it to cook, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I rarely ever cook. That's the man part of the job. I don't do the cooking around here. I do the cleaning. He'll do the cooking for the most part. But no, I just, I don't want my son drinking it. It's been awful. And I feel like people think I'm crazy because I can smell it and they can't. Because I'd be like, do you smell that? Like, I'll brush my teeth or rinse my mouth out or something, and it'll just make me just feel so nauseous. I'm like, ugh.
I'll be darned. Steph's actually saying, let's see now, Brita filter, I swear by it. I do not buy bottled water. Kills Mama Earth. And actually, that's true. You should get a Brita. It's a good investment. And I know what you mean, though, because, I'll use the Brita when I cook something and everything else, because I can't stand the smell of the water here. It's just gross. And, one of the big things, too, is that, even in a well water, spirits can be conducted through water quite easily, but you don't feel anything at your parents' place?
No, but it's weird you bring that up, because I was told this crazy, insane story about a little, best way to describe them are little villagers, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, little people?
Well, no, not literally little. So there was, like, allegedly, our neighbor, she started seeing this man who is actually from the area, from toward that side of Franklin County. And his whole family used to, basically, there was like a little village, like behind the woods of my parents' house, like a little community, kind of like a private one, kind of, like, I don't know how I would describe it. Maybe like an Amish community, possibly. But she always told me like all these crazy, like haunted, scary stories I never believed. I have to see it to believe it, I guess, which is why hence my whole playing in the graveyard across the street from my parents.
Right.
Playing
Boy, that light just keeps coming on and off.
That's, I know. Well, I keep turning it back on, and every time I know, because the other one's fine. And so all you do is plug them in, and the plug-in's fine, and it does that every now and then.
Oh. Okay, so the property that's behind there, what are the people supposed to look like?
I think more so like, so basically she described them as like, I can't think of the correct term for them, but basically like conservative people, like, long dresses, like didn't show any skin, like extremely like religious, I guess. Like you couldn't just, a random person, bystander, basically couldn't come in there and like join in their community. I don't know. It was kind of like a cult-like family-based area. And she claims that there's all these crazy things that go on there, haunted-wise. I can't remember exactly what the stories were because it was a few years ago. I did, however, go there over the summer. I went four-wheeling behind there. There's a little lake, or a little pond, not a lake, because it ain't that big. It's not that big. If I could best describe this little area, because there's the building right, the side of it, and like a little dock. Camp Crystal Lake is the best way I could describe this area. It's literally like, it looks just like it. Like, it looks like there's it's like a decent sized pond, and the whole little building and the dock and everything. Like, I could film my own horror movie there. The place is like spider webs, like vacant, like they do not touch it, but it's owned by the guy's family. I also went riding, a little bit further. There was like these weird like totes. I'm so nosy, but I didn't stop and like get into the area. There was like these totes like in the middle of like the woods. And it was like a little garden of totes. And
Of totes, of like
totes,
little totes?
Like little totes that like you put stuff in, and filing cabinets. And my nosy self is telling me like, go explore it. But then other part.
Hold on. So now these things were at the place where these weird people are? Okay, what town is this in?
Now, these weird people, they're no longer there. Like, it's just all basically just wooded area, except for like few of the family members. Like, they're older now. They are down there. This is in Ferrum, Virginia.
Salem, Virginia?
Ferrum. Ferrum. Yep, that's where I grew up.
Gotcha.
I realized how crazy it was until like I repeat stories. I'm like, wow, that sounds nuts. But that's where I had like probably my second mishap with like something, I guess I should say, supernatural. Hearing it running down the hall of my parents' house and like jumping on. That's where he was more active, I guess. And I say he because I did see its face, because it did pop up. But I woke up, I was looking straight like out on the side of my bed, and it did say hey or boo or something like that. But it was nice. It never did anything to harm me. It was always there, like literally all the time. Whether or not he's still there now, I don't know. Maybe he came with me. Who knows? Maybe that's who always tries to knock on the walls and attic and everything. But I experienced running down the hall, jumping on my bed, him popping up from underneath my bed and saying that one word. That's all I ever have heard whatever it say.
What is
like
the word?
I told you, the hey or the boo.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it was. I knew it was one of those. I want to say, or it was like hi, not hey. I want to say it was hi, but part of me, I cannot remember. I was so young, and it scared the crap out of me. Like, I was like, not today.
How old
You're not
were you?
getting me. I was probably like 8.
Did you ever say anything to your parents about it?
Probably. They always blamed it on. Now, my mom never really believed, I guess, in supernatural stuff. My stepdad, he doesn't. Like, he thinks I'm crazy anytime I tell him all these insane stories. He's one of the people, he'll support any decision I have, but he thinks I sound crazy. For everything else. But my mom never really believed anything until her mom passed away. And she actually, her mom spoke with her and, in her dream, of course. My mom's never really had any other, I guess, experience aside from she also smelled the cigarettes, like the smell of burning cigarettes. And that's about it. Because I tell her the story, everything that happens with me. And, at first she wanted to go get my head checked out. And so then once I started like talking to others about it and like they've had, same experiences, it makes me feel less crazy. And I'm like, this is normal. Like this happens to people. Like you're looking at it a whole one way, and I have a whole new perspective on it. Like, maybe if you'd asked me at the beginning of the year, I would probably want to go get my head checked out also. But, not anymore.
Wow. So now, how do they feel now about you? I mean, what do they say about you now, the family, with all this stuff when you were younger and stuff? I mean, are they still kind of like, oh, come on, give it a rest?
My mom is more... She believes me. She she believes these things are happening to me. And she says, because I went on a wild streak this year just due to depression, heartbreak they hurt sometimes. And so I finally, I guess I hit my breaking point. That was my breaking point. I went crazy, or I just went wild, not crazy. Disappointed my mother, of course. And so when I had my awakening and changed completely, and all I could talk about was like positive things and spirits and just things I used to talk about as a kid, and it coming back to me, and things that I remember now that I kind of forgotten like over the years. She's a little bit more proud of me now. She's happy for me, happy that I stopped all the wild craziness. Now I'm focusing on my future. I have, not going to lie, I've been led by spirit guides, or spirits of some sort, unsure of who yet. Thought about going to see a medium or something, just a little bit more clarity. But I've been led to making the best decisions of my life lately. Going back to college, figuring out what I actually want to do with my life. So it all went from feeling and sounding crazy to doing what's best for me for once in my life. Because I've always based my life and my decisions on others. And after, I heard, I had someone 2013 it was the year after I had my son. I was home alone. I was at a friend's house, and 100%, no one was around me. No, substance use, drinking or anything. I heard someone, clear as day, in my ear say my name. It was a deep voice, and I guess I kind of brushed it off. Of course, at the time, my anxiety went up, and I started shaking, but I kind of brushed it off, and I completely forgot about it. And then, like I told you, probably, I guess by now it's a couple months ago, when I had asked in my head, 100% did not say a single word out loud. I said, talking about my significant other, I said, does he even love me? And some deep voice, along with kind of the wind blowing a little bit, like cold air, like a brisk of cold air, it said, yes, he does. And I was like, oh, okay, then, like, what now? What do I ask you now? Are you like, who is this? Is what I want to say, but I kind of just, I don't know, because I didn't know what to think. I thought I was crazy, still a little bit, until like just things kept happening. I'm a huge believer in angel numbers. I don't know if that's something you've ever looked into or do.
It's funny you should say that. One of the our newest members on my team, Supernatural Investigators of Minnesota, Mariah, she, every time like we're talking and stuff, and when she like we had a sim meeting last Sunday, we ended at 3:33, and she sent me a 333, and I said, "What's that all about?" She goes, "You don't believe in angel numbers?" Now, she is one actually I was going to suggest to you to talk to. She is a medium, and I got a really good feeling. She hasn't done nothing for me or for the team yet. She's only been on for 90 days. We've been kind of just feeling her out and stuff. But I was going to suggest her to you, Bobby Sullivan, or even Valentina Lomborg-Wiley. They're all three really, really good. Mariah, if you do want to talk to her, she does do Skype. I think they all do Skype nowadays and stuff. So
Okay.
I'll give you the contact info afterwards and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve's asking me, Steve B, he's in the chat room. Do you have any religious beliefs?
I never really, it's not that I'm not like 100% not like satanic or anything. Like, I used to go to church, Baptist church as a child. Never really had my own opinions of it. I always avoided political and religious like conversations all in life. Now, I mean, I do believe in the Lord. But I also believe in like, I don't know. I've been looking into like going to a metaphysical church that we have here in, I think it's in Salem, Virginia, but just to kind of experience different people's like views on everything. I'm kind of on my way to a spiritual journey, and, you know, Buddhism I looked into only because I'm all about peace. Everyone loving each other. I do believe in the Lord. Though, like, I don't know yet. I don't know where I would classify myself until I finish my journey, I guess. By the time my journey.
The journey's a long road. Is a long road. Yeah.
It's been a long one this far. I know when I went to so as a kid, I went to church like every Sunday and every Wednesday too. My parents never really went, at least not when I did start going, like, I guess religiously, quote unquote. But I remember being saved. I was never baptized. I remember being saved. I don't know. I used to have this. The church used to scare me because it was creepy.
Scared you?
Not like what they taught, but like there was like noises there. We used to play around it because, you know, it was a small church, like a smaller community. Loved the people to death because I like was best friends with one of the daughters of someone who like used to sing there. And I don't know, like we used to experience crazy stuff there. I tell you, this stuff's been going on for a long time. I don't know if I should laugh about this. It's scary, honestly, but we ended up, what's it called? We totaled my mom's car and hit a big old sign, the church sign. We hit the church that I used to go to. I was on my way to their house, actually, and someone hit my mom because he said that her turning signals were the wrong color. And so, yeah. So we like ended up they got a new whole sign, a new sign and everything. Like it paid for it and everything. So, and the church ended up putting "Thank you for our new sign" on the sign. I was like, "You're welcome."
You're welcome. Got it. Let's see here now. We've got a commercial, and then we will be right back. So if you could hold tight there, everybody, will be right back in about 3 minutes.
Steph. Hey, it's a Taffy Tuesday today, Heidi. Taffy Tuesday. I don't know, Steph. That's kind of a stretch. Well, we want to give everyone something to chew on.
Tune in to the Gathering Radio Show Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Para X Radio.
Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What are you afraid of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
Hey, this is Lee from the Dead Zone. I want to give a huge shout out to Shauna and congratulations on her new podcast, Exploring the Paranormal Perspective. You'll hear some amazing guests like me,
Whatever.
paranormal and true crime stories, and more. Catch her Wednesdays at 8 Central on the Para X Radio Network.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal. Para X.
All right, we are back. This is Jerry with the Calling, along with Katelyn Powell. And hey, if you're wanting to listen to this show and you are like, where can I find it tomorrow, Jer? Easy. You just go to www.thecallingradioshow.com, or you can go to YouTube, The Calling Radio Show. And hey, Para X has like tons of really good entertainment. The Gathering every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to 9 p.m. Geeks right after my show. They're pretty darn good. I mean, check it out. One of the things that we started doing 2 weeks ago was putting a missing person of the indigenous women. And 2 weeks ago, we put out for Destiny Kitso. She was actually found safe. That's pretty cool. Can't say that, it was us that found her. But, when people start passing stuff around and taking their time to take a look and stuff like that, it's pretty cool that she was found. Now, the newest one I just put on is a girl named Candace McKay Paul. She's been missing. Last location was in Winnipeg, Manitoba. They haven't seen her since 12/29/21. They're very concerned for her well-being. Take a look at that. Pass it around if you would, and everything. Let's hope that we can bring her home also too. So okay, so Katelyn, let's see here what we got going on. All right, let's get back to the show here. Now, where did we leave off at? I'm sorry. I should have taken notes and I didn't have a pen.
No, you're fine. We were talking about like religious views and all that. Yeah. So I haven't really quite gotten there yet. I have been, doing my research. Basically, I'm all about peace, and like I do believe in spirits. Obviously, I believe they walk among us, like that place I'd found. So And that photo that I had sent you, I think that we used it. Yeah, we used it. That was actually taken at the Metaphysical Church that I had went to. So I'm curious as to see what that's about. Like I said, I went to the church. Turn this light back on. I went to church really like all the time as a child. I stopped going, not for any particular reason. I just stopped. And then I went to church for the first time in years with my ex-fiance, and we had issues, which is why we'd split up, and he wanted me to go with him. So we went one Sunday, and I tell you what, I cried being there because everything was so relatable. Sorry, I heard something knock like from the floor, and it scared the crap out of me. I couldn't figure out what it was. But yeah, so like I know someone, God, Lord Jesus, like is listening to me, because literally the thing he talked about, the man talked about that day was so relatable to mine and my ex-fiance's relationship. And I felt it so much because like our issues, well, that time, because we had a lot of issues, but right before that were my fault. And it was so relatable, and I just couldn't believe it. And I felt it so deep in my heart, and it was insane. I don't know. So like, I'm so, like I said, I'm still on the journey of finding what technically I believe in, or what I would classify myself as, I guess I should say. But I don't know yet. I'm still working on it.
Well, that's good.
So,
take your time. What was now when your awakening started, what's the big thing that kind of hit you the most? I mean, paranormal wise, supernatural wise, how did it hit you?
Let's see. So I was a hardcore like drinker. I woke up one day. I didn't have a taste for any alcohol, anything like that. Like I was going out every night. Like I was just being a horrible person, I guess you could say. Like I was going down the wrong path. And it's like someone or something that came to me and slapped me in my sleep, slapped me around, got me straight. So that happened. Then I guess you could say, I was able to, I guess, predict some things. However, my location was off on them, so it wasn't 100% accurate. But as far as the, I guess, concept of what was happening, whether it was someone getting murdered or whatever, like I predicted it, or like I had like a premonition or whatever. However, my location was off because I assumed everything was happening in Roanoke, and that's where I was. So everything that I kept saying to my friend, because he actually helped me. It was super weird. He sat in the living room with me one night, and we started talking about my life, and I started questioning things, and the whole number thing, angel numbers, that actually led me to writing again, because I used to write as a child. I looked up these numbers, did whatever kind of, I've been huge on research. I'm not even sure what I did, but somehow this spirit led me to investigative journalism, because I'm nosy. Like my great grandma was nosy. She had a police scanner at her house, and if the police were called somewhere near her house, that woman would walk barefoot because, I don't know, she was always barefoot all the time. I don't know why she even owned shoes. Like, I've seen her wear slippers, but that's about it. She just never liked shoes, but she would be walking up to the people's houses barefoot, being nosy, seeing what was going on. But this spirit had led me to investigative journalism. So I was like, well, maybe that's what I want to do with my life. And then, of course, I was like, no, it's not, which I'm writing, just not investigative journalism. So it did lead me to writing again, which has made me happy. It helped with my mental health. It also led me into, going back to school. And I say it led me because I know somebody has been with me every day, because I continuously hear them knocking, whether they're walking upstairs, knocking on the walls, making popping noises. So if I'm researching something, like if something, a number or a name pops out at me, I'll look it up. And if I'm scrolling, something or someone will make the popping sound. And that's going to lead me to what I need to click on. It's been super weird. I don't know, but I've opened myself up more to listening and being available, I guess, for them. More vulnerable, which I don't want to be too vulnerable because I don't want anything dark coming in.
Well, that's where you gotta build your strength up. You have to rely on yourself. Curious now, when I went through the awakening, it was really strange because I would just look at someone and be able to see certain things about them, and kind of feel what they were. That's the biggest thing I hate. I really do hate about the awakening that I had, is that the feeling of certain things. Like if somebody's up high, when I used to drive home from work and I used to look in the cathedral and I'd look all the way to the top. Next thing I know, I'm at the top and I'm looking down. I don't like heights. I hated that feeling, and it would take a long time to pull myself away from it. And then one time, for some reason, every time I'd go home, I'd stare at it and I would go through it over and over and over again, and I'd get physically sick. And then I found out that over in St. Paul, a person actually crawled up to almost to the very top and jumped. And after knowing that, I never had to look at that again. And that took a long time.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I think I've ever talked about it, because I pretty much tucked that away because I don't, being heights seriously are terrible. I'm glad I'm living in New Brighton, because even living in Columbia Heights bothered me. Joking on that. That's a very terrible joke. Oh my God. That was a snort.
I know.
That was awesome.
Sorry, I thought it was funny. Dad jokes are my favorite.
We must be related, because I do that quite a bit on the show. But no, things like that. And, like somebody will call me up and say, I got this friend of mine missing, and I don't like to do that. I don't like to look in and try to find a person just from myself, but somebody called me up once, and, they said that their friend's been missing. It was during the wintertime. Can I see anything? And after smudging and thinking about it, it's like it came clear. I didn't know that she was dead, though. I know that she was scared. She hit something straight on. She got extremely cold. She was holding her breath. Her heart was pounding. I could feel all that. Told her friend that, and it was like 2 days later, they found her in a pond, and that she had crashed her car. She was drunk. And it's like, I felt so bad of telling her friend this, I didn't say she was dead. I just, I don't like to be that type of person to see that kind of stuff. And then it was a while later, she did that same thing to me, where she asked about these people she's seen on the news, if I knew where they were. And I seen it. the woman was dead, froze in the car. The old man tried to go for help, and he froze on the side of the road. Nobody knew they were there. It took, I think it was possibly a week, and that happened up in northern Minnesota. But that was then. But that was within the last 4 years. But the awakening I had was one of the smells were different. The sight was different. Looking at someone and just knowing that something's going to happen, But I mean, the whole thing was just so odd. Have you had anything like that? Or it almost feels like there's somebody next to you saying, "Look over there. Look over to the left."
So not necessarily. Now, my most relatable story to that was on Halloween. I had Little Red Riding Hood and Big Bad Wolf in my head. I was like, okay, well, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be for Halloween. Maybe like that's what they want me to be. I don't know. My friend was dressed up as that, her and her man. Well, I started doing I was sitting at home. I didn't go out. I stayed home, and I called my friend. I was like, hey. I started freaking out, like, on the phone. He didn't know what the heck was going on. I was like, is so-and-so okay? Ask him about the girl. And he said, yeah, she's fine. I said, well, what about him? Like, what about her boyfriend? He said, yeah, he's okay. I was, like, crying because, like, I thought she was going to get hurt or something. Like, I thought something bad was happening, and it was happening to them. Well, literally a month later, not even a month, he was, like, less than a month later, he was, the guy was killed shot in the face multiple times.
Oh,
right in front of her.
God.
Yeah. And I was like, holy cow. I was like, do you remember? Because I'm now seeing the guy who helped lead me into believing, or like opening my eyes and helped, I guess, with my spiritual awakening. I was like, so now we're together. But before, I was like, do you remember me telling you, like, or calling you and freaking out that one of them was going to die? Like, I thought one of them was dead. And he was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, man, because I've had my whole family has died, basically. I know it sounds terrible, but I had my grandma, she had committed suicide, and she always said that there was not another woman who would live in her house. Of course, any woman's going to say that about her dream home. I tell you what, I was in school. No one knew that I lived at this house with my grandparents. And this girl's talking about, well, we just moved in to so-and-so on Beach Mountain Road. And I was like, she was like, crazy stuff's been happening. She was like, I heard the woman who lived in there previously had killed herself. And I'm like, what house number are you talking about? And she told me. I was like, that's my grandma. I was like, what's she doing? She crazy? Because I used to have dreams about her haunting that house. Like, in my dream, I would be afraid of going inside or going upstairs. I would go inside. I wouldn't make it to the bottom. I couldn't even make it to the bottom of the steps, because if she saw me or anyone, like, the house would start going crazy. Like, it was like just demonic feeling. And I didn't like it, obviously. Nobody would. But it was more scary than it was friendly. And it was just weird. And my other grandma, they said, I have the hiccups now. I done scared myself. But she died of a brain aneurysm, allegedly. My mom gets a phone call a few years later. They want to dig my grandma back up. They think that the husband pushed her down the steps.
Oh my
instead.
God.
Yes, and my mom, of course, because that's a touchy subject for her, she refused to let them. Which I understand why. I mean, how much are you going to get from the skeleton at this point?
They can still get a lot.
Yeah, okay, well, maybe they could. Yeah, now that when I said that, I was like, but I feel as if I've heard stories of him recently. I used to work in a bar. I was a bartender, of course, and
So was I.
one of my Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, one of my customers was my grandma's neighbor, but he didn't live there when my grandma was alive. He lives there next to the house now. Talks about her her husband at the time before she passed, how crazy he is, and how he apparently, my mom's been told he refuses to go in the basement because that's where she fell, allegedly had fallen. Was down in the basement. He refuses to go down there. Apparently, per his neighbor, he like stands around, talks to himself constantly. Like he's gone crazy, apparently. But I don't know.
He might not be going crazy. It may be her talking through him. That there's something there. So this is me talking, and I'm not saying I'm correct all the time, but digging her up might be the best thing to do. There's still a story there to be told. Seeing her, in that place, if your awakening is building. You need to keep working on that. Write notes on little things that happen. Even if it's a very minute thing, it might be something really huge that's going to help you in the long run, especially not just help you, but help somebody else. So you got to keep all that in. I mean, I learned so much from actually my ex-sister-in-law, my ex-brothers, brothers-in-laws, and my ex. I mean, she was extremely intuitive. And, even though everything happened for me back even before I met her and stuff, things build from there. And then all of a sudden when that awakening hits you, I mean, it hits you good. So keep going at it, Do you know this person still that lives in your grandma's house?
Yeah, because it's her ex-husband that lives there. And the neighbors are the ones who tell me all the stories. Now, I doubt, because I've thought about going there and, not inviting myself in, but, I mean, we were family at one point. So, yeah. I mean...
You should go talk to him.
That's what I want to do. I want to hear what craziness he might say, and I want to go down in the basement where where they found her, and see if there's anything that comes to me or whatever. Because I don't know, I'm really good at feelings and emotions and reading things, I guess. It's how I caught one of my exes cheating all the time, but oh gosh, I just thought I was crazy then.
Well, if you do that, please let me know after you've done it. I'd really like to hear what happened. And if you could, you should always bring a gift to her, either a little smudging or a stone or something like that. To help her out and stuff. Because it could be really, really interesting. It could be something that is a key piece of what you need to keep going with your awakening. Further yourself. I mean, look at you now. I mean, you're not drinking anymore and stuff. I mean, a lot of people say that that's just spiritual. No, that's not just spiritual. I mean, I believe that there's people on the other side that want to see you good, even people that you've never even met yet.
Yeah, alcoholism ran in my family, so half of everybody almost everybody. My mom is even still an active alcoholic, basically. Right. Like she's functioning one, but
right.
And breaking all these.
What's that? Boy, your lighting system, you need an electrician or something. That's crazy.
I know. I don't understand. It never does this.
This
I did
poor
that.
girl is sitting there, and her lights keep going off all the time, and that's just crazy.
All right, there we go. We're good.
So, let's see here now. What have we got here? Oh, Steve B was asking, was there any kind of a suicide involved?
Like with one of my grandmas, yes, but with the one whose husband allegedly, oh man, we didn't even have time to talk about that one story. But so with my other grandma, no. So with the one with the husband that lives in the house still, no suicide. That was a straight brain aneurysm. However, with my grandma's house, who's haunting the place, she
Katelyn?
committed suicide. Yes.
Oh, okay. We lost you there for a minute.
Oh gosh.
You're
See,
yeah.
Something's going crazy because I haven't even touched my phone.
It's weird. It's the Skype, kind of iffy anyway. So what were you saying? I'm sorry.
So the grandma who haunts the house, she committed suicide. Now the grandma whose husband still lives at a house, she died of an alleged brain aneurysm. She did not commit suicide.
Okay, but there's a possibility they're thinking she was pushed down the stairs?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's incredible. I mean, still stick at it. Ask your guides what they say to you. Is it possible, that did happen?
I thought about definitely working on it because, crime scene investigation was what I wanted to do with my life until just until life happened. And I'd still want to do that, but there's so much I want to do. But yeah, I've thought about working on that, seeing what I can find out for sure. Because I'm definitely not gonna give that one up until I know the truth. Because
Right.
I don't believe it was just a brain aneurysm.
Wow. Well, be very careful when you're around that guy. Make sure his boyfriend comes along or, a hammer.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm super I've been carrying basically swords with me, not literally, but I definitely keep protection on me. Yeah, I don't be pulling out my sword no.
Here we got Katelyn the Gladiator.
Oh man,
That's funny. Well, this is really interesting. This hour went by really quick. We're down to 2 minutes left. Yeah. So now, what's your next step? I mean, are you going to try to get a mediumship, or are you going to first just kind of learn more about the awakening and what
I'm going to learn.
Life has in store for you, paranormal-wise, natural-wise?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to learn a lot more, meditate a little bit more, try to get more of a clear third eye opening, I guess you could say. I'm going to do that before and focus on my other heartful passions before I do anything else. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to be messing around with the spirit world.
Right. Well, that's good. Keep doing it and stuff. We're down just a little bit. You can hear our music is coming through. Okay, well, everybody, I want to thank you all for listening, and thank you very much, Katelyn, for coming on the show. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. And then everybody, hey, thank you, Para X. Thank you, Sarge. You're the best. And everybody stay tuned because Geeks Paranormal is next. So good night, everybody.